Let's go!
O'Doyle rules.
Fuck O'Doyle. It's week
Palo.
12 of Pond Walk Podcast, baby.
Tuna. What's up, y'all?
How's everyone doing? How was your weekends? How was your week? This is another week. We're getting closer to the next weekend since we last talked, and you know what that
man.
means? It means more football. More
Week
huck and
12.
chuck and football.
Week 12 of 17 going of this regular season with a 2024 season. We're having a good time. I know we had a good weekend. We were we were celebrating Bolt Up Colta. We were in New Jersey at the Jets game. Shout out the Colts. Shout out Anthony Richardson 3.0.
AR, man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he learned a little bit. I mean, it's not like the Jets were an amazing team, but we'll get into it. We had a lot of fun this weekend. Drove up to the Meadowlands. Watch some good football though. We were real close on the field, and I had a great time. And then we met old Bob, and then
Yeah, bro.
had another great time. Watching LA do their thing at night. So
What a
timing
game,
worked
man.
out. Timing worked out where we got to watch both games. But let's get into it, man.
Yeah, man. Week 11 was fun. We tried our best to track. Obviously, most of the games were at 1 o'clock during the game. We were actually at, but yeah. I mean, we did our best to keep up. I was trying to get Red Zone going on my phone as much as possible. And every week as we go on, I more and more I forget the score. I feel like I'm down 1. I think I had a game swing last week.
There was a game swing. I don't know if it was last week, but it may have been the week before. But you were down 1. But let's see where you're at this
Yeah.
week.
Let's go. Once again, I don't recall how many differences we had, so we'll see. But yeah, last week's episode was Thursday, leading up to Washington at Philly. Yeah, man. Philly did their thing. I guess once again, you're waiting for Lattimore to come back for the Skins. Is that 2 L's for the Skins in a row? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
they're having a hard time winning in Pennsylvania or winning against Pennsylvania right now. I think that's 2
Yeah.
in a row. So,
And that was a very important game for the division. Obviously, they meet again later down here in the season, but Philly's looking like they're trying to take over the East, the NFC East, man. I guess shout out Philly. Jalen Hurts obviously is like kind of like a dark horse MVP once again, like 3rd or 4th year in a row. They're getting in the end zone. Saquon's balling, so yeah.
Saquon's a game changer. It seems like every other week. I mean, he might have a slow game here or there, but he bounces back real quick, and he did that just against Washington there. It started off a lot closer than I thought it was going to go, but ultimately, I mean, things started to get a little out of hand late in the game.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels looked probably the roughest he did all season. Now I remember he had a few balls low at receivers' feet. I mean, obviously both teams coming into it off a short week. Maybe the Commanders just took a little bit more of a beating the week prior. But once again, they'll be meeting up again, and I feel like that game will be just as pivotal, if not more, for the division. So we'll see. Playoffs are right around the corner, man.
They're all important games at this point, especially a divvy game like that. So yeah, like you said, short week going into Philadelphia. I think I mentioned that's kind of why I had Philly over Washington, and it shows.
Yeah. So I mean, you had Philly. I had Washington. So there we go. Right away, some disparity. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay wins by 1. What was it? Was it blocked field goal for the win?
I believe so. Yep. Right at the end there.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Chicago seemed to be having the lead the whole game. That's one of those games I was trying my best to keep up. I know Josh Jacobs did his thing. I know Tucker Kraft didn't do his fucking thing. He only had like 1 target, no catches. Hurt me in fantasy. But yeah, I mean, Green Bay still comes out and wins games. That, like we said, every game really matters now. So Green Bay's looking for the playoffs. Chicago's not. Chicago's just got to get it together. Obviously, with the whole Caleb Williams and coaching drama, and apparently Caleb Williams talked to his locker room like the week prior, or like this last week, saying like he's owning up and taking responsibility with this like lackluster season, etc. And then they come out and played, I guess, decent ball. I mean, decent enough to should have win the game type situation, but another L. So that's unfortunate.
Another L. I mean, that's just what it is. Look, they're competitive. I don't recall too many games where things got too out of reach in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Green Bay's a solid team too, but you gotta close them out. Regardless of how the game ended, if it was a blocked field goal, you gotta be in a position where you're not relying on the field goal to pull you out in the end there. So shout out Green Bay, big win.
Yeah. Jacksonville at Detroit. We both
That was
got this one right.
disrespectful. That
Yeah,
was
I mean that this was kind of
disrespectful.
easy to keep up with. I mean, it's just like the literally like the fourth, at least the fourth game where Detroit's just straight murdered a team. Like they're
52
just
to 6. I don't
yeah,
know how
all
Doug
gas, no
Peterson's still
brakes,
here.
video game esque. Like there's no question that Detroit's the most powerhouse team in the NFL, right?
I mean,
Like
it's hard to say otherwise. I mean, you're talking multiple games over 50 plus points. Jared Goff threw for a 412. David Montgomery did his thing with 75 yards.
two touchdowns,
Amon
right?
Ra, two tutties. Amon Ra had another big game. So I mean, they were just clicking on all sides of the ball, and clearly the defense was doing what they had to do to limit them to 6 points.
Yeah, they really won a Super Bowl. I mean, it's like you can't hate on the Lions. Obviously, like I loved it coming into it, but they're so good. It's almost like they already seem like that front runner team that I hate. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get what you're saying. That they're also just balling out. You're up 50 something points. You think you'd put in some of your backups, but they're saying hell no and just running, just fucking them up. So
Yeah. Well, next game we had both right as well. Minnesota at Tennessee. Minnesota starts. I think they picked up a dub. They've been losing more than winning the last like 3 or 4 weeks, but I guess they're picking it back up. This is one of those games, to be completely honest, I could not keep up with as well during the 1 o'clocks. But yeah, Minnesota comes out with the dub. I don't know if you got any more to add to that. I mean, I saw Will Levis talking back to the press conference at a press conference during practice, talking about him coming back from injury. So I guess I don't know if he even has been in, but yeah, Titans.
yeah, no, I mean, I think Will Levis, he had almost 300 yards that game. So I mean, he was in it and he was doing his thing. Minnesota's defense, they started off the year a lot better than they have been, but it was not a great game either way. I mean, when Will Levis is your passing leader and your rushing leader and Aaron Jones is 39 yards, it's just a sloppy game. So a good dub for Minnesota, but if they want to continue on the path, the playoffs, which they're clearly still on, but if they want to, be a dominant team in this later half of the season, they need to kind of pick it up because last couple of weeks have not been impressive to say.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, Tennessee's also a stinker of a team, so I mean, you can't give Minnesota too much credit for the dub. But hey, they're still coming out with a really good season. So I mean, just keep on rolling, keep on trucking. Hopefully, their defense bounces back like they did it more earlier in the season.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, next game was Vegas at Miami. Most people saw this one coming. Miami's starting to come back into good form. I mean, Tyreek Hill got in the end zone, finally got some pay dirt. So shout out Miami. I saw some clips this week of Mike McDaniel's trolling Max Crosby on the sideline. They got him to jump. He yelled out at Max like, "We didn't even have a play drawn up, Max." Thought that was kind of funny.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
rough.
the
If
Dolphins are one of
anyone,
those teams that are trying to get to the playoffs. So I mean, very very low chance, but they're still there.
look, they're on the bubble. I think they're right behind the Colts at this point. So there's still hope. I mean, you're gonna have to win the hell out. But look, if they're starting to come back into form, if Tua's gonna start playing the way that he can, and Devon Achane, man, I mean, he's just been carrying this team the last 6, 7 weeks at this point. So shout out Devon. But I also want to shout out Brock Bowers, man. He had a pretty good
Yes.
game for a tight end. Tight ends have struggled this year, and he balled out. So shout out
Yeah.
Brock.
Yeah, Brock is he not already like a tight end superstar? I mean, last year Laporta had a great rookie year, and I guess he's having a not so good season now because there's so many weapons. But man, Brock Bowers is just bound to eat for a long time if he's on a team like the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, look, they
Insane.
don't have a ton of weapons to begin with, so if you're somewhat talented like the way he is, I mean, he's going to get targets all day. And being a tight end, your big presence, good hands, typically means you're going to get a couple looks, and he's
Yeah,
producing.
he's a
So
beast. I'm sure he'll get bigger too.
yeah,
Next
of
game,
course.
Rams at New England. We both had the Rams winning that one. They pulled through. I remember this game a little bit more. I know Puka and Cooper Cup produced, man, did what they've been hoping they could do, coming into the season if healthy. Matt Stafford had 4 touchdowns. Drake May, I like Drake May, man. I like his athleticism. He definitely can run the ball. Do you know he had the most rushing yards at UNC last year, out of the whole team?
I
Pretty
think I
interesting.
recall hearing that. Yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely an athlete, man. But yeah, shout out the Rams, another team, maybe a little bit more than the Dolphins, as they're really trying to get their way into the playoffs. Still, they're healthy and they're rolling.
yeah, no, they played the football that they needed to play. New England, we shit on them early in the season, but they're not as bad as we really made them seem.
Yeah.
So they're a competitive team. I mean, look, all teams aside from maybe two are pretty competitive. So to get that win, bouncing back from injuries, shout out Rams, man.
Yep. Next game, Cleveland at New Orleans. Taysom Hill had a hell of a fucking game. It makes you think that Dennis Allen, the coach who just got fired for them, probably like despised him for some reason because he's back in like full form. He was balling, he was throwing, running, catching. Shout out Taysom Hill. Yeah, kind of fucks me over with Alvin Kamara fantasy wise, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I love Taysom Hill, man. He's one of those guys where I just thought he was a shitty quarterback when he came into the league, and then they just utilized him every which way, and he has succeeded at some level in every position he's played in. So shout out Taysom. I love watching him play. I think he's listed as a tight end, to be honest, in most fantasy leagues. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's fun to
Uh,
do.
Shout out Jameis though. I mean, it's like every other game he throws for like 400 yards, and like
Yeah,
Jerry
Jake
Jeudy
Boogie,
had a
man,
career day. I remember seeing that
he did.
throughout the 1 o'clock games. I
Yep.
kept seeing his stat line. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, they had 142 yards in the air. So I mean, that's shout out Jerry Judy, man. That's a hell of a day. And good job New Orleans for getting that over poopy Cleveland team though.
Yep. Next game, Baltimore at Pitt. This was a fun one. This one I was really trying to keep up with throughout the 1 o'clock games. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is no question dominant now that they, did what they did to the Ravens. They like blitzed every fucking play, at least early downs. Made Lamar try to do his thing in the air. And then when it mattered, like that 2 point conversion, they came in clutch, man. The Steelers defense is legit, and if their offense can be somewhat like capable with Russell Wilson, like they've kind of shown, vertically at least, they definitely are like they should be a top three team, and like I don't know, they're not probably not my top three, but shit,
I mean,
Pitt,
they're still a really good team. Their defense carries it well, and then obviously you have that veteran, like you said, in Russ. I do question though why Derrick Henry was not on the field during that 2 point conversion when it was definitely a sweep to the left. At least it would kind of
yeah,
draw some attention
obviously,
towards him versus 80% of the attention going towards Lamar. I don't agree with it. Obviously, I don't get paid to make these decisions, but when it comes down to game-winning 2 point conversion or game tying 2 point conversion, um, I don't necessarily agree with that. And could Baltimore have taken it in the overtime and won it? Maybe, but
yeah.
Tomlin doing Tomlin things. Their defense did what they had to do, and maybe a questionable call on offense or special teams that play. So, shout
Yeah,
out
I
Pitt.
believe I believe that was their first matchup this season, so I think they also play later down the line. But I tell you who I would have on the field on a 2 point conversion, especially on a sweep left, is fucking Anthony Richardson, man.
AR, man.
Yeah, dude, it was fun to watch him live. I'm honored to say I got to finally watch him live and to get to see the great Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, their offense is inconsistent to say the least. But yeah, the game was fun. It was still such a great football game with like momentum changes, turnovers, and locking in. Man, we got to watch AR lock in the second half. They finally decided to make him throw the ball more than one time in a row, and he drove down the field when it mattered.
He
He
got it
connected when
done,
it
man.
mattered, and then he got himself in the end zone twice. Right, 2 rushing touchdowns.
Two rushing
He's a
tutties and one in
beast.
the air.
Yeah, the one we saw on our sideline where he ran it in, man, he made that DB's head snap back like a fucking like a tennis ball getting
It looked
smacked in the
like
rack,
like when you
like
pull
boom.
back a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, yeah, like just really hard.
Look, it
Yeah,
was awesome, man. We were 5 rows up on the end zone, and the quarter had just switched like 2 plays before, so they came all the way onto our side on
yeah,
the 1 yard
yeah.
line.
We're right at the pylon. Like we were perfect seats for that. Like
It,
amazing.
if you're on my Facebook or Instagram, I posted the video. It's fucking wonderful, and we were blessed to sit in an awesome section of just a small sea of blue
Yeah,
in that stadium. So we both had lost our voice, but it was all well worth it. But yeah, AR 3.0, as you call him, he looked
hell
amazing
yeah.
in the air. Look, I think we have to stop thinking he's going to get hurt. If the dude's a big
Yeah,
body, the more
yeah,
contact he gets, the more used to the pain he's going to get. Dude, you're in the NFL. The shit, you're going to be fucking sore, man. I'm
yeah,
sorry. And you are an incredible weapon when you are used for your athleticism, your speed, your size, pair with Jonathan Taylor and your rocket arm, and the more consistent, he'll become more consistent taking those shots. And there was a couple of really good balls
Really
that I
good.
think week one or two him would have missed,
Yeah.
and he nailed some very clutch deep balls. He made some, still made a couple poor decisions, with maybe the fumbles, but overall, he looked great. But unfortunately, it was against a kind of a poopy Jets team. But it's the Jets offense that's really what's holding them back. I think their defense is still decent, and for us
Yeah,
to be
very
able
good
to pass
defense.
on them, look, they got Sauce Gardner, and we had Adonai Mitchell scorching them. We had Alec Pierce scorching, Sauce
Yeah,
Gardner.
Josh Downs getting open. And they also have a great interior. I mean, Quentin Williams is a game
Quinn
wrecker,
Williams,
and,
he
and you
made
didn't really you
made a
didn't really
lot of
hear his
big
name too
plays.
much. Yeah, crazy.
He did make a lot of clutch plays, that did limit Jonathan Taylor. But now when you start to throw the ball the way that AR can and get him outside the pocket and utilizing him with his legs and his arms, and then JT's getting all the attention because I think JT was blowing him up early, and then the second half they started to really botch him up. Well, then now you have AR making these deep throws and making these
Hmm.
runs to pick up 4, 5, 6 yards, and that's what they did. Little chunk plays to win the game.
Yeah, I just think you continue to keep your line strong, maintain them, and if Steichen is as good as I really think he is, he should be well aware that like, hey, with the weapons that we have, include especially Anthony Richardson, if I'm decisive on these play calls where we're running power left and you got a great line in front of you, or hey, we need the ball in the air right now, and I don't necessarily like Michael Pittman, but you have a guy like Michael Pittman, but more importantly, like Josh Downs is a beast, Adonai Mitchell's a beast, and Alec Pierce. You have four good receivers. Like they're all good receivers.
Look,
You
yeah, I
know.
mean, Pittman's production has gone down the last couple of years. I think just the way that the offense is set up now, but I think it's also
Yeah.
because we have more weapons, right?
Yep.
And I'll throw it up to him for contested balls all day, but getting down the field, look, Josh Downs, Adonai, those guys are fast. Alec Pierce is just underrated speed. I
He's a
mean,
route runner for sure.
he's got great hands, and yeah. So now that there's more weapons, yeah, look, Pittman's going to get a few less looks than he did when Rivers was around and stuff like that. But I think that's all good, though. I mean, you're spreading the ball, you have a great run, great RPO, and now you're developing a decent pass. So I think the future is good as long as they can maintain and not take too many setbacks.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, now we got 4 o'clock games, and we were able to slightly pay more attention to these ones, like Denver at Atlanta. Uh,
Both
you
got that
you
one
you had
wrong.
Denver, but you have a green, you put an X for you, but Denver fucking destroyed Atlanta, right? Am I not mistaken? You don't you,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't get
you're
an
right.
X.
I'm sorry. I was
Yeah.
clicking on that, and I guess so.
Damn,
Yeah,
son. So I'm like really fucking up this week.
yeah.
But
I
you
was
got
clicking
Buffalo.
too
I picked
fast.
Buffalo. All right, but anyways, yeah, Denver. Bo Nix was like basically through like 98% completion percentage. He just showed he is a great decision maker. They weren't like crazy bombs, a lot of them, but I think he ended up with like 3 plus, maybe 350 if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong. He balled out though. I know he balled out. Denver balled out in general. Atlanta looked flat. Kirk I think had an early pick. They just couldn't get it rolling, man. And man, I got that one wrong.
Yeah, no, Bo Nix, I think, threw for over 300. Cortland Sutton had an 80 plus yard game, I think. So they look good. They played a lot better on offense than I was expecting, and I guess Atlanta's defense was not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but it is what it is. It's the NFL, and the Broncos have only been getting better every week, and it shows right there.
Yeah. Uh, Next week, I mean, this next game, Seattle at San Fran. We both had San Fran. This was a big win for Seattle. I tried paying attention a lot to it. It was a crazy swing at the end. I think the biggest telling story of it is like as of late, San Francisco's defense has been extremely not clutch, bad near the end of the game statistically. Unironically, they have Brandon Staley, the Chargers ex-head coach, as their D coordinator and assistant head coach. Probably a big reason why they're having such an unfortunate season, other than the fact that they've been injured. But I still think San Fran will pull through and fight for a spot maybe here. But Seattle, big win for them. So they say otherwise. Seattle's looking for maybe a
Massive.
wild card spot.
Gino had an okay day. JSN,
Yep.
I think he was over the century mark. So, like you said, I think San Fran's defense, when it matters the most, they're coming up short, and ultimately it shows. I mean, 3 points, 2017. I mean, I really think that San Fran is more capable than that. I'm not trying to shit on Seattle's defense, but I would have assumed that San Fran was a little more high powered, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, both teams are like they need to be on win mode, Seattle and San Fran, if they want a chance here.
There we
Next
go.
game, the coming into it undefeated Kansas City Chiefs at Buffalo. Uh, I
I
had
love
the
to get it
feeling,
wrong.
man.
I love to
I'm
get this one wrong, man. I'll get this one
yeah,
wrong every day of the week. It makes me
fuck yeah,
happy.
yeah, man.
Um,
Kansas City once again just couldn't get the ball consistently rolling like they have been all season. Same type of offense. Josh Allen, I mean, the biggest story was that clutch. I think it was a fourth down conversion, short and fourth, just to like extend the game at the end. If not, regardless, it was like a 23-yard straight dog of a run.
it was a
Uh,
beautiful run at the end of the game for that
hmm
tutty to kind of put it away.
yeah,
I mean, that was if he's in any sort of MVP contention at the end of the year. I mean, that clip is going to be shown over
yeah,
and over. I mean,
absolutely.
he put the cape on and he said, "Yo, I got this," and he took it to the house. And I mean, like you said, KC's defense. Not a lot of people talked about it, but they're a decent defense, and for them to let that happen, but that's just Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things.
Yeah, I don't think any other yeah, no other quarterback. I mean, shit, I'd argue Herbert maybe in a few weeks if he keeps doing what he's doing. But that man, Josh Allen put his shoulder down, and he doesn't care. Like he stays healthy while he does this shit, which is really mind blowing. Buffalo's
Insane.
looking like a powerhouse, and yeah, with Baltimore Ravens doing what they did against Pittsburgh this week, everyone's talking about Josh Allen MVP now. So that definitely will be cementing him into that if it continues this way.
For sure.
But I'm eager to talk about this next game.
Yeah, let's
We
kick that
both
off
have the
while I turn my light
Chargers.
on.
Yeah, turn your light on, because we were trying to bolt up, man. Lightning striking.
There we go. Hold up.
Yeah, man. The Chiefs, I mean, the Bengals are a hot offense, and whether you guys like it or not, they're a good football team. And I'm sure the Chargers knew that coming into this, despite the record. And our defense coming into it, finally on prime time, they're talking about us. Oh, their defense is historical. I think we hold the Bengals to 6 points in the first half. It may have been 6 points. It was something very low. But then, and Herbert looked like a god in the first half. He had a few crazy seam zip seam routes across the field to Quentin Johnston, passes that just like go right over linebackers' reaches like darts. And he was running the ball. He had like a 30-yard fucking run across the field, looking kind of like a little Josh Allen-esque. He had an amazing first half, and then the second half, the Bengals, man, they finally showed what they can do. They lit it up on offense. A couple unfortunate fumbles went their way. It was just a perfect mixture for one of your typical Chargers bullshit games where they just give it up. And I'm sitting there in our hotel room, and I'm just like, I'm about to lose my fucking mind. Like I'm getting a headache watching this game. I literally had the meanest beating headache after that game. But yeah, the football gods and our defense and our offense came in clutch when it really mattered, just like a good football team does. Everyone's going to forget about how it really panned out weeks down the line. They're just going to remember, hey, you remember how Herbert came back and made sure they didn't lose the lead to the Bengals and won that game? Like, that's all they'll say. So thank God for Jim Harbaugh. Thank God for Justin Herbert. And thank God for our defense, man. Jesse Minter's doing it. So it's fun.
Yeah,
Big
look
win.
for a non-Chargers fan being in it, right? It was a great game to watch. I can understand how it was pretty frustrating. Because granted, I was a few tequilas in at that point, so I was feeling a little loose. But from my spotty memory, I was enjoying it. Just watching the back and forth, and then for them to kind of hold off in the end, I thought that was awesome to see. That's I know you were like it was a messy game, and which it was, but ultimately your defense did what they had to do. Because second half, I think the Bengals were leading in passing, rushing, and receiving. Uh, so for you guys to put the brakes on someone who's starting to build that momentum and close out the game, that's all that fucking matters, man. And like you said, a couple weeks from now, they're not going to remember all the spotty details. It's going to be, well, the Chargers defense did it again.
Yep. Hell yeah. And we did. We held them to 6 points in the first half. Bend don't break type defense, making big plays, securing tackles, breaking up passes. In the second half, man, we really trusted the air just as much, or if not even more, in the second half. But our receivers, other than Lad McConkey, like it got to the point where they just couldn't. They exceeded the amount of catched balls that they could have that game. Like they just started dropping them. So that was killing me. Shout out Justin Herbert. like that. You talk about a dark horse MVP. I mean, give it a few weeks, he's definitely won. Like his odds for MVP are like
Look,
ridiculous right now. But
it's
yeah,
going to be a fun last few weeks of this. I think it's really going to show a lot of people who Justin Herbert is supposed to be. There was a lot of hype early on, and he was doing great. A couple injuries, and I don't know if it was just poor coaching or whatnot. He hasn't been the player that I thought he was going to be in the last few years,
yeah,
but now I'm seeing a lot more of it. Maybe he's just maturing, right? I mean, he's just a better
I think
quarterback,
so.
better IQ. Um, I think he's not trying to put it all on him and not make these because he's got a big arm. I think he's starting to realize, let's trust the run game. Let's take a couple dinks here and there, and not make any unnecessary throws. So, shout out Herbs, man. He's looking good this year, and I like him.
Hell yeah, bolt up, brother.
There we go.
And that leaves our last game of this week 11 was Houston at a stinky Dallas. Cooper Rush is not it, bro. CD Lamb just can't even get any stats because he doesn't get the ball past 5 yards. Like he has to run a hitch route to even have the quarterback look at him. It's really unfortunate. Houston, Nico Collins looked great and healthy. First play of the game was a callback, like 80-yard screen. Other than that, C.J. Stroud didn't have a passing touchdown. Joe Mixon balled the fuck out, man. Had 3 touchdowns. It was one of those games where I should have turned it off earlier, but I watched it all the way till like the fourth. I was like, all right, now I'll turn it off. So yeah, it was just they dominated. I'm sure C.J. Stroud is happy no matter what. A win's a win. But they just need an extra step. They definitely don't look the same as they did last year as far as passing the ball. You got Nico Collins back. Let's see something happen. I think it will.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue is still gonna lie in that offensive line, giving them that pass protection. I think
Yeah.
it's been rough all year. They've been trying to make substitutions. I started to see it. I think maybe in week 3 where it just they didn't give Stroud as much time as they did last year. I don't know what's changed. I didn't really follow their offensive line change, but I think that's a huge part of it. And it's funny that you mentioned that. You know, Cooper Rush and C.D. Lamb not getting stats. On paper, C.D. Lamb got like 90 yards, right? So it looks like he did great. Cooper Rush had over 350, but I mean a lot of that was one in garbage time, right? And then
Yeah.
two, it's sure he has 90 yards, but he had to get 30 of it in garbage time, and then 14 hitch routes for 4 yards and them going three and out. It's just not going to
Yeah,
do
they're not
anything,
gonna
right?
win games, dude. Like it's just
Right.
so
So
unfortunate.
it is just super unfortunate. Maybe it does pad his stats if you're on a PPR fantasy football league that Mari got. I'm sorry, not Mari. CD got 45 catches for 90 yards, but yeah, it's not going to get you anywhere if you can't get the ball across the 50.
Yeah, man. Dallas needs to regroup and figure something out. It's gonna be exciting to see what they do this offseason. I think it could be drastic. But yeah, I don't. Do you wanna pull up real fast, like very briefly, just what we're looking at coming into Week 12 as far as playoff
Yeah, we can look at
probabilities?
percentages,
Yeah.
just because I mean some of these are pretty much a shoe in. I know no one's obviously clinched at this point; they could lose out, but I think it's just interesting to see the percentages and kind of more so the wild card percentages, right? So we got
Yeah.
in the hunt, first place Chiefs. They only have the one loss, so that's a 99%. Either if they win, lose, or if they just stay the same. Same with the Lions, right? 99% win, loss, stay the same. Right, Buffalo, they're on a bye, so currently they're still at a 99% chance. If nothing changes, if today was the playoffs, they're in. Eagles, a little bit further behind just because I guess they played one less game. So if they lose, they're still at a 95% chance, right? If nothing changes, 97%. If they win, 99% chance they're getting in. This is where the NFC starts to drop a little bit, but still a lot of consistency on the AFC side. Steelers, 95 if they lose. If today was it, 97. If they win, 99. Cardinals, though, if they lose against Seattle, they have a 47% chance of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah,
Right? Right
that's
now, they
where it gets
currently.
interesting. You got
Exactly.
Seattle, and then you got San Fran trying to sneak their way up there too. So
Exactly. But if they win, they jump from a 59% to a 77, which is huge. Back over here on the AFC, more of the same, right? If they lose, high percent, stay, they're in. If they win, obviously they're in. Falcons currently they're at a 77% chance. If today it all ended, let's talk about your boys. They can still lose to the Ravens and still have an 87% chance getting in. You're currently at a 92%, and if you win, you're pretty much locking it in, right? At a 97% chance. Vikings, though, they're being on the 5 side. I think it's just because they're in the north, and that side is just, it is what it is. So if they lose, they're still at a 90, currently 95. If they win, they're jumping right up to a 98%. Baltimore Ravens, if they lose, 91%. They're currently today 95. If they win, 99. So it's pretty consistent all across the AFC right now. The AFC is just playing really good football.
It's that
Um,
7 seed where it gets
the
interesting, though.
seven
That's where
seed
I
is
really what I
very
want to see.
interesting, right?
You gotta go
So
down to
right
on the
now,
bubble.
this is a big game for Green Bay, right? Because they're San Fran's they're wanting that spot back. They lose, they're down to a 64% chance. They're currently at a 78. But if they win, they're going to jump all the way up to a 90% chance. Now, granted, this is if everything were to be over in week 12, week 13. So that we can do this every week and just kind of fly through it like we are. Broncos, though, they lose. They're down to a 44% chance from the 60 they're in, but if they win, they're only up to a 69% chance, so it's
Nice.
not guaranteed. The Commies, they're currently at 84% chance. If they ended today, looks good. If they lose, 65, they still have some life. If they win, right back up to an 89. So that 7 seed is huge. But let's talk about the bubble.
Yeah,
Colts right
I think
now.
the NFC is like so locked in with like the wild card spots. I
Yeah,
mean,
because I mean,
obviously,
look,
like the next week's really big for Seattle. Uh,
Seattle's huge because they need to start winning outright at this point to have a chance to get back in there. Because
yeah, they're playing
look,
Arizona.
they're right now they're at 23. If they win, they only go up to a 34. So they need to start winning games and winning them in bunches. Same with Indianapolis, right? 31% chance. If you win, you get closer to a 50-50, like riding a you know seventh seed. Um, Rams not looking great though. 16% current.
Yeah,
If they
these
lose
are really
nine,
big
win
games for the
24.
Rams, yeah, Seahawks, and Niners this week.
The
They're all
West right
playing
now,
playoff spot.
it's a dogfight for the West right now. It's huge for all of them. I mean, you guys can all see the numbers here. Bengals are on a bye, but I mean, let's talk about the Dolphins. Even with their one win, if they lose, they're down to a 3%. It's not looking good. 13 if they do win. Bengals 13, Jets 2%, and all these guys 2 or
Yeah,
less.
I
Right?
really hope it doesn't happen, but I think Miami's going to find their way into the playoffs, man. They get to play an easy New England this week, which I'm pretty sure they're going to end up winning. And then they'll end up being 5-6. Well, you guys got to. I mean, if you guys beat Detroit, then I'll shut up about all this. But
It's going to be
you guys are
tough.
playing Detroit.
It's
Go
going
up
to be
to
tough.
7 real quick. I want to. They're 6-5. Yeah, man, I just really don't believe in the Broncos. They got to show consistent ball on the offensive side, but I don't know. Sean Payton and their defense, they could do, but I'm obviously gonna root against the fucking Broncos. I don't know, man. I'm really rooting for you guys, and I hope the Dolphins don't pull through because they're a deadly team when they're healthy. So
Look, sometimes the Colts pull these random miracles off, so I wouldn't be. I mean, it may be against Detroit if they pulled off some magic miracle, I'd be a little shocked. But
yeah, y'all's
there have
defense
been
is gonna
times
have to
where
lock in.
you know, I think like Mahomes has a hard time playing against the Colts for a couple of years, and I'd wake up thinking like, damn, we just lost and they won it in prime time. So don't count the Colts out, especially if AR is starting to find his groove, and start to get explosive.
Your guys' defense, though, I mean, I'd be shaking in my fucking boots, dude. They're coming out. They dropped like 300 points in 2 weeks, dude. They're
I'm going to start the the Indy defense this week and pray for a
uh,
miracle.
yeah,
I'm gonna
gonna
score
get
like
exposed.
150 points with my other players and lose like 160 on my team.
Yeah, I was about to say
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna
lose
lose
by
100 points.
-10.
I don't know. You never know. The NFL's the NFL, though. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions 2 weeks ago. I mean, granted, they still won and put up a
They
lot of
still
points,
won the
but
fucking game.
yeah. But yeah. So
Let's
that's
get into our
fun,
power
man.
rankings then, right? Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the obviously as the week goes on, it becomes more crystal clear. I don't know how. I'm not trying to be I'm not going to be very sneaky on this one. I guess I'll start right off rip. My number 3, big drop. I guess it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. I was only banking on them being number 1 because they haven't lost yet, and I don't care how bad they've looked, they haven't lost. But yeah, they just lost to not only a team, they lost to probably a team better than them in the Bills. So there you go.
Yep. Give me KC at 3 as well. They're still a one-loss team. They have a 99% chance of getting in. They could still look. They were still in the game against the Bills up until the very end, until Josh put it away. So yeah, give me KC.
Yeah, I got number 2. I gotta go Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills have, other than like the first quarter of the season so far, they've played straight up miraculous ball, yeah, they're consistent. Josh Allen is showing that he can definitely be the MVP. and they're producing, and they just beat the Chiefs. So number
Yeah,
two, baby. Their
look,
defense is great too. So
we're gonna probably have similar answers, or maybe the exact same list this week. Give me Buffalo at number two as well. I think you covered it. They're playing consistent ball. Josh Allen, he's playing MVP level football. They beat an undefeated team that's been riding a high. They broke the Taylor Swift curse. But again, they're playing great on both sides. And I don't know. I don't see another team, maybe except my number one, that's really gonna put them away like that.
yeah, and that leaves number one, the LA Chargers. So now the Detroit Rams.
I was going
I know
Falcons
the Detroit
personally,
Lions. I
but
just said Rams. Detroit fucking Lions. Yeah, we already covered it. They're playing bully ball, and you gotta love it because it's Detroit, or you gotta love it because it's fucking bully ball, and it's like they're just like shitting on their little brother in Madden. Like that's what it is. So shout out the Lions.
Detroit number one for me as well. You're putting up 7,000 points in 3 weeks, so you're not outscoring them.
Who's your number four?
Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, right. Because I feel like most people would say the Eagles, respectfully, I guess. Right, the Eagles, but I don't see that. I think the Steelers would. I would be very confident in the Steelers coming into Philly and winning. So yeah,
The Eagles have only been playing good ball recently. The Steelers have been playing consistent, great defense, good enough offense the whole year.
yeah, yeah. And now that Russell Wilson's out there, it brought a whole new dynamic to their offense. Truly, I mean, you can see George Pickens score touchdowns and whatnot. So yeah.
But I guess on the topic of George Pickens, we can get into our future picks here.
Yeah, yeah, because tonight is a AFC North matchup in the Poopy Browns.
Dude, that was like the best Starburst I ever had in my life.
I'm really hungry. Like once I saw you eat that, my stomach started hurting. So
Oh man, it's so good.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So,
All right, let's get through this then.
Yeah, we both got Pitt at Cleveland tonight. That should be I guess two good defenses. You can't question that. But yeah, got Pittsburgh winning that
Divisional
one.
game. It could it could be interesting. It could be just a terrible game. But look, we both got Pitt for obvious reasons. I think we both just put them at 4 for a reason, and Cleveland just stinks. So
Yeah.
all right. Vikings at the Bears. Both got Minnesota on that. Look, I think the Vikings are still a good team. They played in the last couple of weeks, but I still think that they're a better team than Chicago.
Yeah, Bears got no momentum coming like at all anymore. I mean, it's very unfortunate. It's not like they have to rebuild per se. I'm sure they're gonna try to fight their way to get some dubs, but not against Minnesota. I don't see it.
All right, Detroit against my boys. We both got Detroit. Obviously, they're number one in our power rankings. In Indy's defense, they can stay somewhat strong in the beginning, but second half they've shown that they'll get bullied. So
Yeah, Detroit. Man, I guess no slight on the Colts defense, but if you told me a team is gonna score 100 points in a week, I would tell you it's probably gonna be the Detroit Lions.
yeah, no lies there. New England at Miami. Miami's looking good. I got Miami. You got Miami, and New England. They're not quite there. I think everyone knows they're a subpar team, and Miami's starting to heat back up.
Yeah, kind of up in the air, but I just know Miami's really fighting for something here, and I see that narrative continuing. I think Miami's gonna really fight for that 7th seed.
All right, we got the Bucks at the Giants. We're both taking the Bucks. And Giants are they benched Daniel Jones at this point?
Yeah, he's gonna play safety now.
That's probably his best bet, to be honest.
And they played safety at practice today. He made a statement too, like basically retiring from the Giants, like a retirement speech. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I got the same thing. Tampa's defense, they're also trying to claw their way somehow into some. I think they're in a messy NFC South. So
Mike Evans might be back.
oh, that's fun. He needs to get to 1,000, so I hope he comes back ASAP. But yeah,
I think he's questionable.
Dallas at Washington, classic matchup.
Yeah, man. Both got Washington on this. Obviously, Washington's record is starting to not look as incredible as I thought it would be looking, but they're still in competition. And Dallas is just a terrible team right now.
Yeah, Washington's still a good team, man, and Dallas is not. I'll leave it at that.
Yep, KC at Carolina. Big shocker here. We both got KC. Look, they're coming off a loss. They're going to try to prove that they're better than they are, better than they were, and really do it against Carolina, right? So
yeah, maybe KC puts up a lot of points. That might be a bet I kind of want to lock in. They just try to run up the points. But yeah, you got it.
Yep. Tennessee at Houston. We both got Houston. Tennessee is still just looking like a poopy team, and Houston's coming off a big dub, starting to get healthy again, and maybe that's what they need. And you know, maybe Nico's gonna get a few more targets for deep ball and put them away.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Tennessee, man. They got some weapons. I mean, Calvin Ridley, Pollard. I even like Tajay Spears. They just been very unfortunate this year. So yeah.
It's not clicking. Denver at the Raiders. Both got Denver. Yeah, Las Vegas just looks terrible this year. Denver's heating up. They still have that great defense, and obviously you saw what their offense is capable of. So give me Denver.
Yeah, I'm rooting big time for the Raiders. It's one of those fun division matchups where I'll get to do that. I would love to see the Raiders just pull them down into mediocrity in the division rankings. But yeah, I'm still picking Denver. They're playing good ball, actually. So
All right, first disparity here.
yeah,
San Fran to Green Bay.
yeah. I think if San Fran puts together a good 4 quarters of ball, which they've shown to do the last 3 years, like god damn, can they do it? I think they finally do it now. Their backs are against the wall. They're gonna be like, hold up, we're not missing the fucking playoffs. I just see that happening.
Yeah, it's very possible. I just think Green Bay is still playing good football. Jordan Love looks good. I think Christian
Yeah,
Watson is super consistent recently too.
yeah.
And they're putting up big plays. So give me Green Bay.
All right, and then we got another one, Arizona at Seattle. This will be a really fun matchup. Arizona's still hanging on to the division lead. Seattle's coming into a big win against San Fran, so this will be a very big high contention game as well. I think Kyler is that dude, man. I've yet to see anything this year where he's like made me doubt him. I mean, he's a beast, and he's half Korean, so fuck yeah.
So my dogs are in the background. So let me make this quick. Give me Seattle. I think they're putting up big yards in the air, and they're solid, solid, solid.
They're about to make my dogs bark. How fucking loud they're being. Yeah, Philly at L.A. Yeah, I got LA. Once again, another team that's playing in high contentions. They're trying to make their way into that same division, of course. And Philly is a little overrated, dare I say. We kind of hinted at that earlier, talking about the 4th seed. Playing good ball, obviously, but the Rams are also playing good ball. And I don't think the Eagles' pass D is going to be able to stop a hot Rams D, our offense, with Puka and Cooper going for like 130 each. And Stafford throwing 4 touchdowns. I see that happening again. I think the Rams are going to put a lot of fucking points up on the board.
It's very possible. Look, it was kind of tough. I think it was me thinking that the offense for Philly is just starting to get a little bit hotter each week. And I don't know. I'm not sold on the Rams defense as much, but their O is very very dangerous against a Philadelphia team that I don't know if they're used to seeing two number ones basically because Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua. I mean, I'd put them both at a number one. To be honest with you, so that could cause a lot of issues, but I still feel a little bit more confident on Philly. They're coming off another win. They feel good, so let's ride.
And so we're finishing off the last 4 games with different answers. I'm not too mad at you for picking Baltimore. Shit, there's part of me that almost, didn't want to bet at all because I'm not going to pick Baltimore. But hey, nah. Shout out the Chargers. They're both playing very similar football. Ironically enough, Harbaugh Bowl finally. I think this is their 3rd NFL matchup. John's actually won both. I'm pretty sure they'll count the Super Bowl, obviously, for that one too. But yeah, man, this 2 very good teams. Obviously, at this point, you can say that. I just think that the Chargers have proven that we can put up actual, high 20s to almost 30 points in a game, which we did this week. 34 finally broke 30. Uh, and the Ravens just put up fucking 17 or 18 on the 17 on the Steelers. Uh, I think our defense can do the same. I think we can limit the Ravens to about the same. Hopefully hold them to less than 24 points, and we win the game. That's what I'll say.
Look, I'm just thinking Baltimore's coming off a statement game that they lost, and I'm thinking that they got something to prove. And if you're going to prove it against a team, it's going to be against a great defense like the Chargers, showing that look, we can put them up against one of the better defenses, if not one of the best defenses in the league. And they're going to go back to their fundamental, pound the rock, RPO. Let's get the big boys rolling. But it's going to be a great game either way. And honestly, Josh Allen's on a bye this week, so I got Jay Herbs as my QB, and I hope he fucking scorches the Baltimore defense for
We
the
should,
fucking
man.
Rams.
I mean, unless our receivers just really come out off the gates, dropping everything, which they've done before more than once, but coming in hot, man.
It's a
Coming in
soft
hot, hot,
defense.
hot.
You guys are feeling good. I feel like at least through the air, y'all have a really good chance. And no, I'm excited. I'm just sad that it's the last game. We have to wait as long as it is, but it's a primetime game though. So what better way to end the week than watching two really good teams go at it?
Yeah, Dobbins, Gus Edwards, baby. Hopefully they both do some things against their old teams. Yeah, hell yeah, man. And that caps it right at the 45-minute mark where we can real quick, I guess, finish off with saying that we have a parlay that we realize that the parlay has to hit. Like we didn't like who someone no one told us, but now that we know that, we have a parlay that will hit.
So there's a business case where I didn't realize we had to actually win these parlays for it to matter. Now,
Yeah,
granted, I did win a separate parlay, but I didn't tell you about it because it was like a 9 leg parlay that
yeah,
should have lost. But
yeah. But we'll tell you one of the winning ones now.
this one feels
Uh,
good. This one
Hell
feels good. We'll
yeah.
give you a bonus, not a parlay, but what we're doing.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with that leg then, which was. Oh wait, no. It's not even part of that leg. But yeah, you want to start with that bet? We're gonna do this, locking it in right now. A single bet, y'all. George Pickens will score the first touchdown today. It'll be a nice little vertical rainbow ball. Beats one of the DBs. Maybe there's some miscommunication. Watch the Chargers Browns game. That happened like 3 or 4 times. That's why I also feel confident in it. Boom, goes the
You get a
dynamite.
beautiful rainbow ball from Russ to George Pickens. Yeah, sure. That's a plus 900. So if you put in $5, half a unit, that's $50. That's like the last 5 weeks where we've screwed you over.
Yeah.
And we're back.
We're back.
But speaking of George Pickens, that's actually one of the legs in the
Yeah,
parlay. So we
that's
might be
one
able
of
to
my
double
first
dip.
legs. George Pickens anytime touchdown in our 4 leg parlay. That's first leg. What's your leg, brother?
Let's go with George Pickens again, plus 70 yards.
Yeah. Plus 70 yards receiving against a lackluster pass defense and fully capable vertical passing team with Russell Wilson. I love it. George Pickens is probably hit for 70 at least I would guess at least 70% of the time or 60%. Like he puts up 60, 70,
Good
80,
enough where
130, 100. So let it happen, baby. Let it
yeah,
happen.
it was good enough where initially it was a 60-yard alternate receiver, and then I was like, you know what, 70 feels right tonight.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think
let's
the regular
ride.
line was 60. But yeah, and then my next leg is also an alternate. Just playing it safe because I think the lines they're in our favor, man. Because people haven't seen him do what he has to do yet. But we're forgetting about one of the best running backs in the NFL, Nick Chubb, 40 rushing yards. Obviously a great
He can
defense,
do it.
but come on
He can
now,
get 40, man. He can get 40.
40,
All right.
40.
And we're going to go with the final leg here. Najee Harris over 85.5 rushing plus receiving. So look, that's even easier, right? We don't even need to get him all the way on the ground with that one. We'll get it in the air too. A couple dink
Yeah,
and dunks.
a 20-yard screenplay takes a quarter of that off the fucking
There we
board.
go, right? And that's a plus 1,003. So we ride.
O'Doyle rules.
Fuck O'Doyle.
My bad. I don't know why he hates O'Doyle, but
It's
comment the movie. Is, yeah, man. That's it, baby. We're gonna hit some good cold hard cash. If you guys told us coming into week 1 they were supposed to hit, man, would we be rolling in
we've been
dough.
trying harder. I
Oh
thought you
my
guys
god,
like these. I
dude.
thought we were just supposed to sit here and be like, "Hey, this is gonna happen," and then,
But now that we know, every week we
oh my
got
gosh!
you.
And then I found out if you're right about these, you get money
Yeah.
instead of just throwing it away. And that's what I've been doing.
I
That's
I thought it
crazy.
was all virtual numbers. It was like a video game. It was like 2K. I thought I was
I
just stacking up points.
I won that long leg parlay. I put $5 in, got 40 back, and I was like, "Wait, I get paid to be right? I
Yeah,
like this."
what I'm saying, man. So
So
thank you guys. I
follow
hope
us,
you guys
man.
follow. I hope you guys
Anyways,
follow
we
along.
appreciate y'all tuning in as always. And that was week 12 of Pound the Walk podcast. But oh
Pound the
Jesus
walk. I hit
Christ!
the mic.
Don't
Did that
hit
make
the
a noise?
mic.
Did that make a noise?
No, it looks scary from our end.
I caught it though. My fast reflex is on camera. That might be the first time it's been documented.
I
Dude,
might
don't
just
tell
edit
them
that
about
right
my
now.
powers.
Should I just
Huh?
edit, just black that whole section out?
Nah, dude, I showed
Put
off.
technical difficulties on the
Oh
screen.
man, just all right. Nah, thank you guys so much. Look, it looks like I'm jerking off the mic. Uh,
Stop.
uh, pound it.
Stop.
Pound it.
It's
It's kind
still
of good.
going.
Turn it off, dude. I don't want to do it.